Okay, welcome back to our channel, MegaWhale team. Thanks for tuning into another video. Today's video will be a technical analysis for Matic network. We're going to be taking a look at the technicals and the chart to try to give you guys our most honest opinion on where we think the prices were heading in the short term and the long term. We're taking a look at macro structures, support and resistances, as well as a variety of technical analysis indicators to provide you with this information. If you have any questions on today's video, leave them down in the comments below. And as always, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new here, and consider following us on Twitter and Telegram, and join our Crypto Academy Telegram announcement channel in the link below. Let's get straight into it. So what we're seeing on the chart here, obviously we're looking at the daily chart to start off with. We're seeing this symmetrical triangle formation, and we saw this huge overextension within this symmetrical triangle around December, which is when the market kind of popped off that blow off top we had on the Bitcoin chart. Now you're thinking, oh, blow off top. We didn't have a blow off top. Well, according to the log scale, we technically did have a blow off top. If we're looking at the price and comparing the price action to our previous high made in May, obviously it was pretty insignificant, only went up a few $1,000s more. But according to the log scale, we did actually break through that midline resistance, which indicates the blow off top, or what you would say the peak for the bull market cycle. So that happened during December. Since then, we broke back down into this ascending, or should I say, symmetrical triangle. Now, for those of you who know, symmetrical triangles are neither bearish nor bullish. They are neutral patterns, meaning that the direction they break is usually the direction the trend will continue. And I'm going to show you an example. For example, if the price broke down below the symmetrical triangle, it will be losing the uptrending support of the symmetrical triangle, as well as our major 1.33, so 1.33 horizontal support, and our 1.33 to 1.34 horizontal support range. If we broke downwards, it would confirm the trend will continue downwards. We would most likely come up to retest this zone, and the trend would most likely continue in a downward trajectory. We're going to be talking about lower price targets and upper price targets in the video soon, but we're just going to go over our symmetrical triangle first. Alternatively, if we find support here and break upwards, we can see an extended move continuing upwards for Matic network. It is very hard to say exactly where it's going to break, because we do have to keep in mind that this is a neutral pattern. So as long as we remain in a neutral pattern, it's very difficult to predict the direction we're going to break until we have that breakout, or until we have our momentum indicators strongly pointing upwards, which will require the price to converge closer to the convergence point. All right, so that is kind of where we're standing for Matic network, and all in all, we are neutral on it. We're not very bullish, we're not very bearish, we're neutral. We're happy to wait, we're happy to see where the trend takes us, and then as soon as we have that green light, we'll jump on board with the trend and ride that trend into profits. Or obviously, if you're shorting, you can ride it downwards and make profit, or just wait for a good entry. So let's talk about horizontal support and resistances. Obviously, we have a few on the chart already, and we have our 2.2 major resistance, our 1.8, this will be a pretty significant resistance, our 1.64, which is probably one of the stronger resistances on the chart, preventing the price from going up, and then obviously the support range we talked about below this. And we're going to input a few other support ranges, which will be sitting down at around that psychological, we'll move it down, sorry, a little bit more, that psychological support sitting around about $1. It's a little bit over to a little bit under, so we've got this small little support range. It's very, very small support range over here. Again, psychological support, incredibly strong, and below that we have a huge gap. So we don't have a lot of support up until, I would say, down to 29 cents, and potentially even touching around 47. So looking at the chart from where we are now, if we had to drop down, and we're going to go over the bearish case scenario, if we had to drop down and lose this and reject here, we can expect retests and potentially retests down to this range, right? This will be worst case scenario. If the price ever reaches back to here, this will be a very strong buy signal, all right? If the price ever gets back down to this range. Over here, we'd be optimistic, we'd be cautious and expecting some sort of bounce. It's very unlikely if we get down to this level, the price will bounce strong enough to push it back upwards. It'd be very, very unlikely. It is more likely that if the price does in fact reach below this symmetrical triangle, we will continue eventually downwards, and we can do that by taking a measured move. We can assume the measured move is the distance between the apex of the symmetrical triangle and the first retest. So we take this measured move, we apply to the breakout point, And obviously, you can't apply it like too much to this breakout point because it's taking us down to the negatives, because the directional move upwards was just so damn extreme. It went up like a couple 100%, and we're not up enough to really get that directional move upwards. But what it is saying more or less is the direction is very much downwards, especially if we do break down below the symmetrical triangle. We have this very, very large move downwards that is very much possible. Remember, with measured moves, price targets don't generally hit their full or their final target based on a measured move. A lot is even on the most, or should I say highest percentage, is around like, I think like 83 or something %, and that's on, if I believe so, it would be an ascending wedge. So you don't always have to take a measured move and say, oh, okay, it's going from here to here, but it's giving you more or less a ballpark range, or like, I would say more or less the directional, where we can expect to be looking at the price headed. And then, we put our support and resistance and zones within that range, and then we can indicate where we want to be looking at buying. So yes, the measured move is telling us it's going to go to -3 cents, which is just theoretically possible. It can't happen. But what it is saying is from this breakout point here, we have a very, very big drop downwards. And if we take a look at our percentage range from that point here, even just down to 28 cents, 29 cents, even from here, that's 80% drop, guys. That's massive. So what I'm trying to say is, if we lose this symmetrical triangle, we are going to be in a downtrend for quite some time. More or less, we will definitely be coming down to retest this range here, the $1 range. Have to do another analysis there. We could definitely bounce from that range upwards, but if we lose that range, we'll be looking at a target of around 30 to 47 cents. That is the bearish case scenario over and done with, and we'll bring up some technical indicators in just a moment to go over and support those. We're going to look at the bullish case scenario, and then obviously after that, we'll bring up our technical indicators to support the bullish case scenario. Alternatively, you can do exactly the same thing if we're taking that measured move, and it will look a little bit more attainable and more realistic if we apply it on the upside, just because we have a lot more room. We can't go into the negative. So taking a measured move, assuming this is the bottom, $3.40 will be an absolute final target, meaning we would find massive resistance if we ended up getting to that range. So we'll put our $3.40 price resistance in. Obviously from there we have our all-time highs, and we have that local high resistance here, obviously a blow off top. From here, what we would expect to see, if we do bottom out here, we would obviously, like I said, find a lot of resistance within this range. This is our main horizontal resistance zone. And we can see we've had a lot of resistance within this zone. I'm going to circle it out again, throughout this entire time. Even the previous last few weeks, finding a lot of resistance. If we're able to flip this zone, we are officially in an uptrend for Matic Network, and we can definitely push much higher. All right, guys, let's bring up some technical indicators. We'll talk about how this stuff is going to be achieved, and what are the chances, and obviously what we have to look out for when we're adopting one of these specific directional biases. So like always, I love to start with the MACD and the RSI. I love to gauge the momentum of the chart, and we like to start on that 7-day chart just to see how the price is acting on the larger time frame. And of course, straight away, we're just going to do a little analysis on the RSI, obviously taking our points of resistance, drawing it across, and we can see we have this very, very clear upper resistance on the RSI. Now, for those of you who know, I've talked about this many times in the videos, I use the RSI a lot to indicate whether a breakout is in fact a sustained breakout or whether it is a fake out. You can use RSIs to determine that. If you have a breakout of the price chart, all right, so a certain macro structure or short-term structure on a diagonal resistance or support on a price chart, or even horizontal one, and you have the same breakout or a similar breakout on the RSI, it means not only is the price above the zone, but we have positive and favorable momentum to push us higher. A lot of the times you'll have these breakouts. For example, we can even see this breakout over here, and this is a prime one right over here, right? We had this explosive breakout, but if we look at the RSI, we had pretty much not even a retest of this upper resistance range, indicating this was in fact a fake out and it was never going to continue higher. So when we have this breakout of this major resistance on the weekly, that would be a very strong buy signal for Matic, and it would most likely occur as we flip this range. All right, you'd be looking for an entry, you'd be looking to actually hold Matic for a little bit, and expecting a swing upwards for Matic Network. So let's dive down to the 3-day chart and we'll bring up our Gaussian channel. I like the Gaussian channel. I told you guys a lot about the Gaussian channel, but we can see the Gaussian channel is in the red. And what does that mean, guys? And we use the Gaussian channel a lot on this channel, and I've shown you how to use it many, many times, but we're going to go back in past for Matic Network, and we're going to take a look on the daily chart and show you guys how we can use that Gaussian channel more effectively and then apply it to the current scenario. So, of course, Bitcoin, the Gaussian channel on Bitcoin was very similar to the Gaussian channel we had showing on Matic Network, right? I remember a few weeks ago we showed you a video of how the price was kind of teasing around below this midline and the lower support of the Gaussian channel before it finally broke upwards. Since then has broke back below in the Gaussian channel. We're seeing a similar thing. So we saw a price kind of flirt around, push upwards above midline and fall back down. It is quite uncommon to see the price push that high into the Gaussian channel and only to drop back down. I'm going to show you a few examples. Obviously, we usually see when the price pushes over that midline, we end up actually breaking through the Gaussian channel, and obviously then our sell signal is when we enter back in that Gaussian channel, enter back in. What we're seeing now, right? We've seen it a few times before over here, for example, when we push back below, and we're really waiting for a break back above that Gaussian channel. Until then, we can expect the price to continue downwards. So moving back up to the chart, what will we need from the Gaussian channel? How can we use the Gaussian channel to predict a future potential price movement? So first and foremost, we had a breakout above over here, which weakens that resistance and is almost an early sign of a possible move coming. It's like a warning sign. Usually you have warning signs on charts when the price is going to drop. This is like a warning sign that the price will increase. So what we're waiting to see is a break over this midline. If we can get over that midline, we're pretty confident to enter, put a nice and tight stop loss below and expect a move continuing upwards. So the Gaussian channel is looking quite favorable, it's looking quite good. Obviously the bull market support band is another story. We are underneath the bull market support band, indicating it is not the time to buy. We are in a downtrend and we're not looking too healthy on the daily. Moving to the 3-day, we can see more or less the same thing with an exaggerated rejection on that Gaussian, on that bull market support band on the 3-day, more or less emphasizing the exact same point of the daily. And on the weekly, we can see this even at a greater extent with a much stronger rejection on that bull market support band, indicating we are in fact in a downtrend and we have flipped even more bearish than previously. So guys, the direction for Matic Network, like I said in the video at the start, is very much unclear. All right, we have to very much take it step by step. If we were analyzing the immediate short term, like I'm talking like the hourly, we can tell you right now, now's probably a good time to buy. All right, so if we come down to the hourly and we do a little analysis on this hourly, we can see we have a little bit of resistance over here. All right, and obviously we flip that resistance, the price will most likely continue upwards. Looking more like that is the case. Obviously you can put a very tight stop loss below, which is only 7% below that major uptrending support line, and we can expect a move upwards red line. So you got a favorable trade. I wouldn't be taking it. It's not a great enough risk to reward ratio for me, but on the short term, it is looking more healthy than it is on the macro. So guys, going back to what I said at the start of the video, if you are interested in Matic, if you like, I don't know what just happened there. If you like Matic Network and you're interested in Matic, buying now is not of small risk. Buying now does hold a little bit of risk. The trend is unclear. You're better off just waiting, guys. Even if it goes up another 15% and you're buying up here on that breakout, you got more, yeah, you make less profit, all right? But the profit you make is safer. You can put a very small stop loss, only 2.5%, all right? And it is more likely that the trend will continue upwards because you have that momentum behind that trend. Right now, we don't really have the momentum. The indicators aren't really pointing in a specific direction. They're more or less indecisive. We have contradictory indicators on the larger time frame to a shorter term time frame, and the momentum is very much neutral. So buying now is a gamble. Waiting until that trend flips, waiting until our indicators suggest a strong buy signal. That is what I would do before you consider entering Matic Network. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. It was a nice and short and sharp one. Like I said yesterday, I just got back from a little holiday, so I'm quite tired. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night either. So thanks for hanging with me. And if you've got any questions, leave them down below and we'll catch you in the next video.